Never in my life, ever. Even though my parents pay private classes, I have tutors at home, I was never on the need of using English. I was on the joy of learning a second language. All my brothers and I grew up in Mexico. I lived there for 30 years. It was not need of using a second language there. Middle school and high school, I loved that class, and I love English always by reading, but I was never on the need of speaking, using the language.
That makes sense.
You know, it's funny because when I was a child, everything in English sounds easy, and I was able to understand, and my teachers never translate anything to me. It was just part of learning, like studying geography and just understand the meaning. And English was exactly the same until I was in the need of using the language to speak and express and live in the United States. And it was when I realized that my English was very academic, but not for surviving skills. I wasn't able to make an appointment or make a phone call like in easy way. Took me a while. Being able to comprehend that it was just not the language, it was the culture and my background and all those differences, at least to be able to communicate myself.
So
It was very soft and nice because I was provided with everything needed. I didn't have to worry to work or to study or to survive. My husband, my daughter, we have a good environment at home. Autodidactic. I love school, and the transition was very soft because even though I was in a professional and academic classes for ESL learners, all the classmates were professionals, doctors from Germany, housewives from Italy, from India, and our accent was very heavy, but the topics and the themes in the class was very engage you to learn. Most of my teachers, I attend Culture of the Page classes on an academic program for adults, and the program was very well designed in order to succeed on English as a second language. The first, I used to live in Bloomingdale, in Illinois.
Oh.
It's in the north part of the state of Illinois. I attend school twice a week. It was for adult school, Culture of the Page program. Yeah. And I took all the classes they have. They test you like for 4 hours, and after that they decide you need to go through grammar, reading, or writing. And I take all the classes, like beginning again, and intermediate, advanced, until I ended attending history classes. I was with the need of knowing where I was living and how to understand the culture, and still I'm studying all the time. It's a long process. I have been working on my English skills for half of my life now.
Okay, I'm working on my Spanish.
Well, half of my life, I used to use English as part of my education. It was a requirement in Mexico. All the schools, I used to have private teachers, and when I was 30 years old, I started taking classes in a college here in Chicago, because even though I have the background on knowing a language, I was never on the need of using it. Then I started attending ESL classes for 5 years, and still learning. And now on my teaching assignment, at the beginning, I was translating right away for all my students because a third of my class, they were unable to understand instructions in English at all. And in order to make them at least to understand the routine in the classroom and how procedures, how to do homework, and working with them. And now at this point, after 2 trimesters, basically it's full English, just I get focused on keywords in Spanish that cognates to help them in the class. Well, it's not just a teaching assignment. It's a mission. It's a mission. As a teacher, you always have a reason to be in a classroom. But in a bilingual classroom, it's always reinforce who they are, where they are from, and where they're gonna be. You have to be not just open-minded. You have to be with all the knowledge and so clear that education in any language is the key to succeed. In my classroom, the curriculum it's basically structured through English, but my philosophy on how to teach and how to make students learn comes from many sources, philosophers from Greece, planning lessons from Colombia, Spanish resources from Spain, all the methodology I learned in Mexico, and very important, how to integrate a curriculum I learned in Illinois as a teacher. I'm a researcher, I'm always on the need to know how to do things. And a key on this class first is go through exactly where students are at. And the only way I am at, even I have all the tools and all the trainings, everything provided from the district here, something it's a key piece of my teaching, planning, style, how I work with them is based on assessment. I combine 3 areas from all the students in order to be successful. One of them is the social. The other one is basically the knowledge. And the third one, it's oh my goodness, I don't have the specific word, but it's how they behave. And I'm not, the meaning is not related in conduct. It's how they react on the process of learning. There's several tools I have to use. I always base my work on Bloom taxonomy in order to create conditions for students to learn. Doesn't matter the topic, doesn't matter if it's a new lesson, it's always building the knowledge based on what they know. And that's my foundation. And from there, I make connections with history, with other languages, with math. It's a global way because English is just a language, but knowledge, it's many ways to learn something. And basically, like if I have to go to a chapter using any facts from history or any resources from science, I will put that in my classroom. The curriculum for third grade here it's heavy. It has different subjects you have to work on it, and standards for California are looking to integrate a common core for everybody. There are certain discrepancies in order to integrate those curriculums. First of all, because the design of the programs are totally independent by subject, and had been my focus in order to reach those standards to integrate a curriculum based on one topic with all the subjects, and then they get involved. We're going to start with math, and then the topic from math could go to science, and then from science we get ending doing reading, and at the end using those facts for writing. Integrates all the subjects, and basically the critical thinking, it's the key piece on the program. Well, no one there is in my classroom to learn Spanish at all. No. They can read in Spanish. Many of them can write. They speak Spanish at home. They use the language as their primary language here. But in the classroom, language is part of our daily activities as friends, as colleagues, as parents. But when it's regarding teaching assignments, my primary focus is English only. And probably at the beginning, I was more bilingual in order to use Spanish to make them understand what I was doing. But now it's getting into the process when then I are able to just understand using the language as part of their lives, even though it's not the language they use at home. Classroom environment, it's becoming very focused on English, and they are succeeding. We have still lack of knowledge of vocabulary, habits at home, how to read, when to read, why we have to read. It's challenging. There is no connection from home to school, that why we have to be focused on learning this language in order to succeed academically in a third grade class. Well, talking about, for example, for math, I have the books in both languages. It was, even I know that out of 28, 25 students, they use Spanish all the time. I started teaching in Spanish math because I have everything, the both books, the hard copy and the workbook. And in a week, there was a reaction of parents, like they were thinking we were not properly conduct their students to learn the language. And the barrier there, it is that we are not grading language in math. We're grading specific topics for math in their language. Here in California, we are able to use the NEW EA testing in Spanish, and no one take the test, and it's something that we don't use. It exists. It's clear that most of them understand what to do in Spanish, but parents, they don't like them to do it that way. What I did is basically I reduced my focus and I started working with all my instruction in English, but I support the students who the main language was Spanish, keep both books. They can read it in Spanish, understand the meaning of the instructions, and then use the math, and then start making a connection. They were able to do it for probably 4 months. It is very interesting that now it's only one student who is still using both books, but most of them are now in English, and that's the expectation. We just got one brand new student from January. He came kind of late that I'm not fully bilingual, but I'm focused on him to translate for him in order to make him understand what we're doing. And it's amazing that all the facts he has to know for math, he's recognized symbols, he recognized certain data he can process in Spanish in order to give me an answer in English, and he's doing it. I totally know that when it's only written, he won't be able to do it, but it's a transition. Yeah.
So how did you decide?
Well, Frida's a special case. she's a special case. She born in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah, born in the United States. In that time, I was using English as part of my daily life. I don't mean I forgot Spanish, but I was using English for like 15 years only. And when she born, that was the language I used to speak with her. When she became 2 years old, my older daughter decided to go back to Mexico and start, become a doctor. And as a personal decision, I was like, okay, we can go together, and then Frida can have background about our heritage and my family traditions and our language. And that was a goal, a personal goal for her. And we succeed. She speaks the language, she reads and writes in Spanish. And I have the opportunity to come back to the United States. And very lucky to be in a... I decided that I was invited to be part of this program in San Lorenzo. And my first thinking was like, wow, I have a chance to go back, start working in a bilingual program. My daughter is 6 years old. She's more than ready to start that second language.
So that was last year?
Yes. Okay. Then I decided to came to California, and I take my time to settle down first, prepare everything for her to arrive. I was very lucky to be chosen to work in elementary school, bilingual classes, and I have the option to decide where she could go, or English or Spanish. Being working in this program, I noticed that the Spanish program was amazing because they work, first of all, building character, they can adapt to the new culture, and that was something she needs. I put this language as a second part of her transition. Then I decided for her to start in the Spanish program now, in order for her to acculturate, to adapt. I have both chances, and I think both are good, English or Spanish. But as a mother, as a teacher, Frida is in a perfect age of being part of this society as independent learner. I know that if I take her to a totally different environment, and that's what is happening now. She is living in a different country. She is living in a different house. We are doing different activities. And now she has to adapt her learning skills to a different language. I'm doing this process the softest way possible for her. making her part of the Boys and Girls Scout. It's one of the pieces I'm building for her. We go to the library, we go outside. She's very proud of her language, and she is enjoying the new environment where people speak other languages. She listens to people who speak Japanese or they speak other languages, and she's amazed at that. Last night, we went to the library, and she noticed that a boy same size as her start reading in English only. I'm never forced her to do anything at all. Her homework is her homework, Spanish or English, it's her own time for learning.
Okay.
I decided that she's gonna be there. I'm gonna trust on the assessment process and to integrate Frida to the bilingual program and being successful here.
Fine.
It is amazing, all the opportunities and chances of being living in a place where education and language and technology is right there for you. It's a blessing that I have this opportunity to grow my daughter in a bilingual community. Yeah, because she can keep her roots, grow through them, and be part of this society. I was not aware of it. I grew up in a place where everybody was exactly the same. You don't have those issues about races or color or languages. I remember being in middle school with blind peers in my classroom. I remember have friends from Argentina. I remember have friends from other countries in my classroom in Mexico, and we were kids, honestly. And here it's more like kids. They have to be aware of who they are, and I was just a kid. I was not aware of differences or discrepancies or nothing. And Frida, probably me as an adult now, I know what she's getting through. But she's just enjoying to be a girl here. It's a very easy question and it's a short answer. Same as my other daughter, who is 25. She grew up in the United States. She went back to Mexico because she decided to do it. She's becoming a doctor in a bilingual program. I want them to be successful in both languages anywhere they want to live. They have the tools, they have the skills, they have the background, they know what is Mexico, what is the United States, and they are citizens of the world. Obstacles, for me, are chances and opportunities. And no, it's like learning Latin. Every time you get one word, you get more roots to go through. Oh yeah. I'm making an arrangement with a friend of mine who's Chinese that we're going to exchange. Frida is going to learn Chinese with her, and her daughter is going to learn Spanish with me. No,
wow.
Languages are the key to learn a new culture and to enjoy other people. It is as easy of defining one word in all the terminology you can use to. And why is because even a simple word you use in any language could give you different meanings, different uses. Now imagine the opportunities of learning another language as culture has. just the speaking part.
Yeah, so language kind of immerses you in other cultures. I completely agree.